Good evening and welcome to the news. I am Willimine Obuku. Coming up in tonight's edition, All People's Congress unveils committee to review its 1995 party constitution. 17 political parties signed joint communique after a two-day inter-party dialogue and capacity building forum. 17 political parties signed joint communique after a two-day inter-party dialogue and capacity building forum. Ministry of Energy signs power purchase agreement with the Planet Solar Energy Sierra Leone Limited to provide 50 megawatts of solar energy in the country. And Environmental Protection Agency and partners end three-day forum to review and adopt national environmental quality standards. All these stories and more lined up in tonight's edition of the news. The Deputy Chairman and leader of the All People's Congress, APC, Alhaji Minkailu Mansuri, has said that the party will review its party constitution to meet the modern political trends. He made the statement during the unveiling ceremony of the Constitutional Review Committee of the party. Aruna Patrick Kamara witnessed the unveiling ceremony and now reports.
Moving forward to bounce back to power in 2023, the All People's Congress Party is keeping the think tank of the party at work constantly. Many members of the All People's Congress have blamed the leadership of the party for losing the presidential election in 2018 due to the way and manner the flag bearer was selected in accordance with the party's constitution, which provides for either election or selection at their last convention in Makeni in the Bombali district. It could be recalled that after the 2018 presidential and general elections that removed the All People's Congress Party from power, brought chaos amongst its membership as they blamed the leadership of the party losing the presidential election to the Sierra Leone People's Party. It is against this backdrop that the party set up a 9-man committee to look into the circumstances that led to the party's poor performance at the 2018 elections and make recommendation to the National Advisory Council (NAC), which is the topmost body of the APC party. One among key recommendations, according to the National Secretary General of the All People's Congress, Alhaji Ambassador Dr. Usman Fode Yansane, is to review the party's 1995 constitution. The 1995 Constitution, Ambassador Yansane explained, took the party into governance in 2007 and 2012, but will now be reviewed because the leadership of the party is a listening leadership. He said the National Advisory Council (NAC) has accepted the recommendation for a thorough review of the Constitution and further observed that the constitutional review must be undertaken with consensus building in mind and strengthen the ideology and the core values of the All People's Congress (APC) party. The Deputy Chairman and leader of the All People's Congress (APC) party, Alhaji Minkailu Mansuri, informed the gathering that the new constitution will look into areas that were used in the 1995 constitution that was not in line with the current happening and make changes to fit into the current practices in modern politics, as young members say it's because they believe in the youth. He said the Constitutional Review Committee comprises mainly of young people and have only 3 resource elders that will monitor the review process. Mr. Mansare said the work of the review committee starts immediately and expected to complete its work before the end of 2019, as the new constitution is what the APC party would use in the 2023 elections.
17 political parties have signed a joint communique after a two-day inter-party dialogue and capacity building program for political parties in Sierra Leone. The inter-party dialogue program, organized by the Political Party Registration Commission and ECOWAS with support from European Union, took place at the Golden Tulip Hotel, Aberdeen. Suriba Samara reports.
This is the first engagement of political parties after the general elections in Sierra Leone in 2018, which saw President Mada Bio taking the highest office of the land. The European Union, through ECOWAS Commission and the Political Parties Registration Office, supported the forum in a bid to remind political leaders about their responsibilities in nation building. The head of EU delegation in Sierra Leone, Tom Vance, said politics around the world can be divisive and called on political leaders to be beacons of democracy.
The image is still hanging. The image of what Sierra Leone used to be is still hanging. And I need to start by reminding, actually, Sierra Leone is a country at peace now. It's a country where we have seen that parties do manage to come together. Yes, there have been some squabbles that we have seen during the elections, but all of that is over.
He added that being in opposition should be defined by those in opposition, whereby they can choose to make or break. Speaking on behalf of the ECOWAS Commission, Patrick Lamboy committed themselves to coordinating inter-party sessions and the need for a national peace dialogue through the PPRC.
After the elections, we decided to focus our support on reconciling political parties, both in Parliament and outside Parliament, in the executive. So on the Parliament front, we took the leadership of Parliament to Accra recently to train them in negotiations and mediation. The objective was to ensure that issues that arise within Parliament are discussed and addressed inside Parliament.
On the last day of deliberations, the 17 political parties signed a joint communique which reflects the views of all of the parties represented.
Full implementation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission (TRC) report be expedited with commencement not later than June 2019. Government should resume and complete the process of the Constitutional Review Committee TRC report within a year.
The political parties had the opportunity to talk frankly to themselves, as the opportunity to do so can only come but not always. Soriba Samura, SLBC News, Freetown.
Well, the Environmental Protection Agency and Sierra Leone Standards Bureau, with support from the United Nations Development Programme, have ended a 3-day forum to review and adopt national environmental quality standards. The sessions took place at the Sierra Leone Standards Bureau in Freetown. Sheikh Ismaila has more.
Air, wastewater quality standards are among documents that are being reviewed, and those that are being adopted include soil, noise, refrigerants, and hazardous substances standards. Key players here are going to make their inputs into the review and adoption processes. These are standards that could not be compromised if environmental protection is to be taken seriously, as enshrined in the EPA Act of 2008 as amended in 2010. Program Specialist Inclusive Growth and Sustainable Environment (UNDP) Tangila Watasanko said UNDP has supported EPA in various aspects of environmental protection, and that the support to the national environmental quality standards is one among several interventions.
UNDP has always been a partner to the government of Sierra Leone in promoting environmental governance. Particularly with the EPA, we have supported the establishment of the cadastral system, forest cover studies, etc. and etc.
Director, Sierra Leone Standards Bureau, Professor Thomas Yoma, said standard operative procedures are key to sustainable development, the reason for mainstreaming of standardization across the board.
That our mandate as a bureau is to protect human health, the environment, and the economy arising from the dumping of substandard products. That's just one key mandate. We have other mandates.
Ali Jallo, is head of chemicals at the Environment Protection Agency. He said the importance of environmental quality standards can never be overemphasized. He informed that in 2015, EPA and Standards Bureau gazetted standards for wastewater and air quality, which they are reviewing. And currently, they are, with the support of UNDP again, adopting quality standards for soils, hazardous substances, refrigerants and refrigeration, and chemicals in products for the first time in Sierra Leone.
Well, we say review because there had been in existence environmental quality standards for air and wastewater. Yeah. So because we had these standards existing, it is a standard practice that you ensure within 3-4 years you should review your standards, because there could have been some emerging issues during the period of implementation. There could have been challenges during the period of implementation. So during this period, the period of 3 years, you are required to review.
These environmental quality standards are standards that are in all the environmental treaties, protocols, and conventions to which Sierra Leone is a signatory, and several of them have been domesticated by the country's parliament. Reporting for SLBC News, I am Sheikh Usmail.
Well, this week is Africa Industrialization Week, which focuses on structural transformation, looking at value chain in industries in Africa. Industrial development contributes enormously to the economy of any nation. Aruna Patrick Kamara takes a look at industrialization in Sierra Leone.
Industrial development started as far back as 1961. In the 80s, we heavily relied on importation inputs with raw materials, equipment, and expertise were all imported in the country. In the early 80s, industrialization in Sierra Leone was characterized as an reliance on import substitution, establishment of production units, which was constructed in the Wellington Industrial Estates, with few others in the regions. According to the Acting Director, Domestic Commerce and Industry, Minister of Trade and Industry, Mika Toure, during the establishment of the industries in Sierra Leone, they were focused on products like beer and cigarettes, amongst others.
This time around, what as a ministry, as a government, the Ministry of Trade and Industry is this time around requesting to have vast land where we can identify as an industrial estate. Maybe by law and whatever regulations, they prohibit those areas from people going to encroach into those areas. I think that will be the only way out of the whole situation at the moment.
Instead, investors now have easy access to establish an industry in Sierra Leone.
We have tried to make it very easy for investors, SMEs and the like, for whosoever that may want to establish an industry in Sierra Leone. You only need to write an application to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, stating clearly what you want to do, what type of industry you want to establish. And on that note, the Directorate of Domestic Commerce and Industry will have to do a kind of an site inspection to your industrial area.
On the area of taxation of industries, Mr. Toure said the country is trying to set up a friendly tax policy that will encourage more investors to invest in industries in the country. A sound policy on industrial development is needed to be in line with ECOWAS Common Industrial Policy, as Sierra Leone is an ECOWAS member state. Africa is in need of technical facilities to transform the raw material into a finished product, and Sierra Leone is no exception.
Whatever you are processing, you talk about a byproduct. The byproduct could be a byproduct for you, but it could serve as a raw material for another industry. And so your byproduct is going to be used by another industry in that same location to produce another product. Its own byproduct is going to be used by another industry to produce another useful product. In that case, we refer to that kind of a relationship as a related industries. And so in a special economic zones, industries are concentrated. They are being provided with these amenities of reliable electricity supply, reliable water supply. If those facilities are there, the land is there. Of course, land is there. We can afford the land. What is at the moment can be a constraint, a difficulty for this country is a reliable electricity supply, a reliable water supply. You know, the land could be there. And then if those other amenities are provided, we can talk about special economic zones where industries could be established and they produce for export, they produce for domestic market and the like.
Mr. Toure recommended that as a country, we need to reform our policy and align our industries in line with active and strong industrialization with Africa Common Industrial Policy to meet the standard of industries. News Hour.
The Ministry of Energy has signed a power purchase agreement with the Planet Solar Energy Sierra Leone Limited to provide 50 megawatts of solar energy in the country. The signing ceremony took place at the conference hall of the Ministry of Energy in Freetown. Daphne Kimamakoli reports.
Planet Solar Energy Sierra Leone is a company that generates and supplies solar energy. It has been in existence for several years and had a 20-year agreement with the previous government to provide and supply solar energy in the country. The new administration decided to review the contract signed with the past government for a lesser cost. The power purchase agreement with the Planet Solar Energy Sierra Leone Limited states that the project would be implemented in 2 phases. The first phase, with 25 megawatts, will provide solar grid in Makot, and the second phase would be in Bo, Kenema, Kono and Potloko districts with the remaining 25 megawatts. According to the Minister of Finance, Jacob Jusu Safa, his ministry will be handling the financial aspects of the agreement. He said after the review of the contract, government will save $48 million for the 20 years period of the contract, adding that the agreement has no potential risk guarantee, which will restrict the government of the project's full potential.
For the 20-year period, government will make a savings of $48 million. It should be noted that this tariff is fixed and does not change with inflation. In other words, there is no future tariff escalation. That is another good news of the agreement, that it is fixed. It does not change because prices have changed. For the first 5 years, it is fixed at 12 cents. Also, 12 cents per kilowatt per hour.
The Minister of Energy, Alhaji Kanja Sise, thanked the Ministry of Finance for the support and added that the contractor is very anxious to continue the project. He assured the Planet Solar Energy of the Ministry's support and urged them to speed up the project. The country representative, Planet Solar Energy Sierra Leone Limited, John Dupuni, said his company has for many years provided reliable renewable solar energy in the country.
Private partner will remain focused on the country's national development strategy with the objective of rendering help in delivering critical and essential services. I don't want to take much of your time because everyone around here is pretty much familiar with this project. PPP unit, in collaboration with the Ministry of Energy, has been working on this project and has conducted a feasibility study for a private partner to deliver this important project.
He added that before now, they have been engaging the government to have a balance agreement that will eventually benefit the government and the company. According to the agreement, the commissioning of the solar energy project will be at the end of 2019. For SLBC News, Daphne Kemamakoli reporting.
A non-governmental organization, JAM International, has signed a memorandum of understanding with landowners in the Manuwa Chiefdom, Tonkolili district for the cultivation of agricultural produce to sustain the school feeding program. The signing of this memorandum of understanding took place in Yule Town, Tonkolili district. Here's a report.
Many years ago, school feeding program was one of the fabrics that upheld the school system. It is one of the prioritized programs of this government. Many children, especially in the rural areas, are being hindered from performing excellently in their educational pursuits because of limited food. It is against this backdrop that the JAM International, in partnership with the Ministries of Agriculture and Education, is set to engage nearly 15,000 children countrywide, including pre-primary school kids, in the school feeding program. According to the Operations Director, JAM International, Mohammed Sharif, part of their short to medium-term goal is to include developing a sustainable commercial agricultural business that actively develop local commercial farmers and the related industries. The Director, National School Feeding Program, Sylvester Muse, said, "The venture is very timely, and they look forward to working closely with other development partners to ensure that the program becomes a success. If this school feeding is to succeed, effective collaboration and management of resources need to be taken with the utmost care."
Well, Media Initiative for Women and Girls Empowerment has held a symposium on the role of the media in ending gender and sexual violence, with the theme Amplifying Voices through Media to End Violence Against Women and Girls in the Society. Zulayat Hamid was there in our reports.
Initiative for Women and Girls Empowerment Museum is an organization that was established in 2017 to unlock the untapped power of women and girls through the media, sharpen the professional skills of girls, and change the narrative of feminine gender in the country. Founder and coordinator of Museum, Adam Asila, said women are a minority in the media field when it comes to effective leadership, and little has been done to tackle the issue. She stated, as an organization posed to empower women in the media, they are very passionate to end gender-based violence. The symposium is to start the 16 days of activism to raise awareness on violence against women in the world, and it will start on the 25th of November and end on the 10th December every year. Museum hosted these dignitaries intending to educate young girls on the reasons for the abolition of gender-based violence. Deputy Minister of Information and Communications, Solomon Jamiru, told the audience that the government is set to put up laws that will effectively deal with issues of rape and other related cases of gender-based violence. He maintained that women and girls should not be abused and that the cycle of business as usual is a thing of the past.
Having stated and registered that kind of commitment at the highest political level and as enshrined in our Constitution, Act Number 6, 1991. I think what is important, and as you rightly said, is for us Sierra Leoneans to get into the serious business of dialogue and then arrive at a consensus as to the things we consider inhuman, as to the things we consider degrading.
John Appiah, media consultant from Accra, stated that for gender-based violence to be eradicated, media institutions should work with the law enforcement agencies, and that psychological first aid should be taught to journalists on how to deal with girls who are victims of sexual violence.
I'm sure the journalists or the media here in Sierra Leone can pick some of these very important things up and help to fight against this very dangerous and deadly cause. So one of the things that the media in Ghana has, which I think is significant, is the fact that we're able to build a lot of collaborations with very key partners who are working together to stop this very deadly thing violence against women and children.
Founder and president of Smart Women Initiative, Amira Catherine Koroma, pointed out that boys and men should be included in the fight against gender-based violence as a means to change their minds when they are young. Commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Ben Kaifala, stated that he is ready to work with all the organizations as now is the time for women to be equal partners.
You're watching News Hour on SLBC, and now for the latest in entertainment. 23-year-old Sierra Laura Tucker was crowned Miss Sierra Leone 2018 on 25th August 2018. Now she is representing Sierra Leone at the Miss World 2018 beauty pageant in Sanya, China on the 8th of December 2018. On the 21st of November, the Miss World head-to-head challenge draw was organized and the contestants were divided into 20 groups. Our Sierra Leonean representative Sierra Laura Tucker is in Group 3. For more on this, let's join our entertainment producer Mohammed King Milan Bangura as he compiled the reports.
Hello everyone, I am Sierra Laura Tucker and I am representing the land of high hills, magnificent mountains and the most hospitable people, Sierra Leone.
23-year-old mass communication student at the FBC, Sierra Laura Tucker, was crowned Miss Sierra Leone 2018 on 21st of August 2018. Sierra Laura Tucker is now representing Sierra Leone as Miss World Sierra Leone 2018 at the Miss World 2018 beauty contest in Sanya, China on the 8th of December 2018. On 21st of November, the Miss World head-to-head challenge draw was organized and the contestants were divided into 20 groups where a winner in each group will be determined by public votes, and our Sierra Leone representative Sierra Laura Tucker is in Group 3.
There you have it, group number 3. South Africa, Venezuela, Wales, Finland, Latvia, and Sierra Leone.
With zeal and determination, she expressed herself as a public speaker, and the first question posed to her was what she has done with her platform as a public speaker.
As a public speaker, I have worked on myself, my self-confidence and self-respect and self-esteem as a victim of abuse. And I have done likewise in the lives of other young girls and young women in my country. And I have been visiting schools as a public speaker, creating sensitization and awareness, obviously, on domestic violence and abuse.
The general public is asked to support our ambassador in China to clinch the highest vote for the head-to-head challenge. Contestants who perform the best among all the 4 platforms will advance to round 2 of the head-to-head challenge.
And now to end the news, the main points again. All People's Congress APC has unveiled a committee to review its 1995 party constitution. 17 political parties have signed a joint communique after a 2-day inter-party dialogue and capacity building forum. Ministry of Energy has signed a power purchase agreement with the Planet Solar Energy Sierra Leone Limited to provide 50 megawatts of solar energy in the country, and the Environment Protection Agency and partners have ended a 3-day forum to review and adopt national environmental quality standards. Well, that's all for the news tonight. I have been Willie Minabuku. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.